Well, hello again. I'm sitting here in my teardrop. It's early morning and a little bit chilly. Um, I am staying at a Thousand Trails campground called Russian River, and it's only about an hour from my house. I decided to go ahead and book this because my sister only lives about 30 minutes away, and so I figured I'd like to spend some time with her. Plus, we're still going through my mother's stuff and figuring out what to do with it, with her stuff. Um, my mom passed away last December, so we're still going through all of her stuff and figuring out who gets what and what we're going to give away. So I thought, well, why don't I just go ahead and book the Thousand Trails and I'll be closer because it's usually an hour and a half drive, so I'm closer now. And then I can just sort of, get practice again because it's been a long time since I've gone camping. And so I was, nervous about yesterday. It's, a lot of work to get all packed up and hope you didn't forget anything, and then get hooked up and drive and unload and get all set up. But it came back to me pretty naturally, I would say. The only hard thing was backing up the trailer. I'm still having a hard time with that, but hooking up was much easier, and unhooking was pretty easy. So I'm getting really good at that. So that's a nice thing. And this is a nice campground, although the bathrooms are really old, but it's still nice to have a bathroom and all the nice amenities that you get in places like this. So I'm gonna head out today, and last night I actually the other thing I was super nervous about is that I'm trying to see if I can actually do my job inside of my car and set up a little mobile office in my car. So last night I get here and I'm all, get all set up, and it was getting kind of dark. And I thought, well, let me go drive, because there's not much of a cell signal here. So I need a good cell signal to be able to work. So I had to drive a little bit further down the road. And I really love that I can just unhook and then take my car and drive off. It's the best thing to be able to do that. I just love it. Um, Anyways, last night I drove down the road and it was getting a little dark, but I decided to see quickly if I could do a little bit of work. And I set up my new little office in my back seat, and lo and behold, it worked. I was able to log on. I was able to get some work done. So I was extremely ecstatic about that, and I was comfortable. It wasn't too bad. So I think I can make my car my mobile office. So that's looking like it could really work. And so that was super exciting. And I'm sitting there, it's getting dark and dusky, and I'm thinking, I can't believe that I'm sitting here out in, middle of nowhere being able to work. This is so awesome. And, it took me several years to sort of figure out, how can I get out on the road full time? Because I still need to work, right? So I'm not able to just retire. So one deterrent was like, how can I get a consistent signal? So I feel like Starlink is going to be the answer for that. And I don't even have Starlink yet. So that's not what I used last night. I was just using my mobile hotspot on my phone. But in any case, I figured, between a mobile hotspot as well as Starlink, I should be fine. I should be set up, and it's so cool to work mobily. I just love it. It's so much better than sitting in a home office. So I was really excited about that. So I'm actually gonna work again this morning and start fine-tuning it and stuff. But I was happy my little I bought myself off of Amazon a little kind of one of those couch tables or bed tables, and it actually worked pretty well. So I think that might be the ticket. We'll see. Today I'm going to try it again. I did get kicked off my work site once, but it was easy to log back on. I'm not sure why that happened. If it kept happening, then it would be a bit of a pain in the ass, but it just happened the one time. So hopefully that won't be a common occurrence where I keep getting kicked off. So in any case, I'm really excited. I had my first night in my, little camper here, and it was really exciting to be back in it. I'm really, really loving this. It's so cool. All right, talk to you later. So this is one of the benefits of staying in a kind of crowded campground. I left my car door open when I went to the bathroom, and my purse sitting right on the front seat. So that's not good, but I feel like, this is a nice campground and probably nobody's going to steal something as long as I'm not gone too long, so that's a nice kind of benefit. With so many witnesses around, I think people are a little less likely to steal stuff. So that's kind of a nice benefit of staying in a crowded campground. As you can see, there's a lot of people pretty close to me, and I feel like I have to be really quiet because I don't want to disturb. It's about 8 a.m. in the morning, and of course that style over there, there's just a canvas wall and they can hear everything, so I'm trying to be quiet, slamming my doors and stuff. Even the bathroom door I'm trying to slam quietly because it's right there. So the bathroom is super close to me. So that was nice. I didn't have to use my little bathroom inside because I'm so close to the bathroom. So that's one of the benefits of, I have to say, staying in 1,000 Trails or one of these nicer campgrounds. It's just all the amenities are pretty nice. To have the electricity and not have to worry about the solar or babysit the solar panels is really nice. Last night, for the first time, just to add a little additional light inside, I used this for the first time, and I really like it. It's a solar light, so I have it open to get the sun today, but it folds closed like this, and it puts out this really neat light, and you can hit this switch and it will do dimmer, lighter, brighter, so I really love that. And it's supposed to last a really long time on one charge. You can USB charge it as well, so I'm really liking this. It's a company called Lep Wings. So that is my favorite light so far, I would say. It just emits a really nice light, so I really enjoyed that. Yesterday, I had to get all packed up and take 3 loads down to my car of stuff, and then come here and set it all up, and so my back was definitely hurting last night. Putting up this 9-foot clamshell tent is still kind of hard to pull those panels out. Kind of hernia producing kind of a thing where you're having to pull those out, so it's a little bit of a challenge, but I do love it. It just offers a nice little area for me to hang out in. I brought some flowers to make it a little more homey, and I have another table there on the ground to still put up, and I put this thing here so I don't keep tripping over that, so I think that's really a neat thing. And then my cute little kitchen. I love it. I'm about to make some breakfast. I installed this little wire basket there on the wall, and I'll have extra room to put stuff in there. So looking forward to some hot coffee. It's pretty chilly here. So yeah, I have electricity and I have water, so it's really nice. It's lots of trees, very pretty here. Pretty foggy this morning. I'm right next to the trash, so that's kind of convenient. And I'll take you down here to see a little bit of the road. There's this very cool, I had This lady stopped by. I had 3 people stop by yesterday when I was setting up to say hello and talk for a while, and people are so friendly and sweet. This lady in that silver bullet, which is called a bolus, I've never seen one of those before. So cool. Maybe I'll get some closer shots. But she said, oh, I was hoping that you would park right next to me. So there's a spot right there next to her. And I'm like, oh, really? That's cute. But I was thinking about it later. Why would somebody want me to park next to them, you know? And I'm thinking it's because, you know, you're so close to your neighbor that you kind of want a good neighbor. And she probably saw I was single and alone, so I'd be nice and quiet. She told me that she lives up in Montana and just working her way up north. But yeah, I kind of wish I did park next to her because I sure would love to see the inside of that Bullet RV. Very, very cool. So it's kind of fun to be at these RV parks and see all the different setups. But yeah, people always stop by. I mean, my little setup here is definitely a conversation starter. People always comment on it and, oh, you have such a nice setup, and gets the conversation going. So it's definitely a nice conversation starter. But I just love my Teardrop. And yeah, I mean, some of these other people in their little, you know, vans or their RVs are probably safely ensconced inside where it's nice and warm. And here I'm happen to be outside where it's cold. It's a pretty chilly morning. I bet you it's only, I don't know, 48, 50 degrees. So I'm a little bit more exposed to the elements having a setup like this, but it's okay, you know. I like being outdoors more. It's really nice, actually. And it makes me feel like I'm, you know, more with nature. So, but I should have put on some warmer leggings because my legs are freezing right now. Well, live and learn. So last night I didn't sleep super great. I did okay, but I realized that my bed needs more padding because my side hip kept hurting me. So I need to get another pad under there and make it softer on my hip because I'm a side sleeper. So maybe I'll stop. I'm staying actually close to a couple of nice towns. This is near a town called Cloverdale, and that's a really nice town. And then up in Ukiah is about 30 minutes away. That's a really nice town. So maybe I can find, there's a Costco. Maybe I'll go there and see if they have any air beds or pads that I can buy for it. But yeah, it's nice to be close to towns like this because, you know, you can go and get what you need, and that's really nice, and not be so far away from everything. And yet I feel like I'm in nature, so it's really nice. But, yeah, I don't know why I brought so many pillows, but since I'm a side sleeper, I usually have something between my knees and then something that I hold on to, you know, for my arm. So that's why so many pillows. Now this big blue pillow here, I actually learned from another YouTuber to stuff things inside, and so there's not a pillow in there. It's actually a down comforter, so if I got a little too cold, I could add that layer. So that's really cool. But yeah, it's nice to be in a place like this. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but it's definitely nice to have on occasion because of all the amenities. I mean, even brushing my teeth, I like to have nice warm water and do it over the sink because I'm a foamer. For some reason, you know, the toothpaste I use or something foams a lot, and so it's a big mess if I try to I don't know, I haven't mastered the art of brushing my teeth out in nature. It's just kind of a mess. I have to figure do I need to watch a YouTube video how to brush your teeth in nature? Because I love doing it in the bathroom over a sink because I make a mess and drip everywhere. And I have warm water, so I've got to watch a YouTube video on that. Hopefully somebody's done one, probably. So, yeah, I'm going to be here for 5 days, and I'm glad that I'm doing this because it's kind of a shakedown trip before my shakedown trip. I'm leaving for that month-long trip. Yeah, I guess 4 weeks or so, a little less than. And so this is a great way to sort of start getting used to camping again. It feels like it's been a really long time. I think it has, actually. Yesterday when I went to go hook up the trailer, I was so proud of myself. I hooked it up in one fell swoop. I just backed my car right up there, and you know, this orange thing on the top here really helps a lot to see. And I hooked up immediately and no problem. Usually, you know, got to back and forth 5-6 times. However, yesterday when I got here and had to back up this trailer up a little bit of a slight incline here, it did take me a lot, several tries to get it kind of where I wanted it to be and lined up and not all crooked. And so I still haven't mastered the art of backing this thing up. But I will. I'll get used to it, that's for sure. I know myself, with practice, I mean, everybody's like that, you know, with practice you get better. So I just bought myself this Trimax. So I have that on the wheel for security. And then I also have, you know, I forget what you're calling, but another Trimax lock here, and then that gold lock there. And eventually I might put one of these on the trailer too. Have it on my car. Maybe they'll think twice about trying to steal my trailer, because when I'm staying in other places where there may not be as many people around to witness things, but I understand, you know, eventually if somebody's determined enough, they could get through all 3 of these things, and if they have enough time. But I'm hoping that, you know, this would act as a deterrent to where they wouldn't even want to try, because they have to get through 3 things to get in. So we can only hope. Okay, well, that's it for now. So here was the bolus that I was talking about. So space age looking, yet vintage looking, because it has the Airstream aluminum look to it. Spelled B-O-W-L-U-S. I think I read online that these are made extremely well. Very long and narrow, like a bullet. Let me see if I can dry more in front of it. Very nice tiny home. So here's my mobile office. I am sitting in my second row of my Honda CR-V, and I have this little lap table, and it's quite comfortable. And I got this lap table that has a little slot here, so my monitor goes right there. And I like that it's got a wrist rest for my wrists. And then my computer is right there. That's the desktop computer. And it's a little bit of a mess right now, but I've got my Blue Eddy battery charging everything right now. And I have yet to use my printer on it yet, which Here is the printer on my seat next to me. And that's going to take a lot of power, so we'll see how this goes. But look at my mobile office and the views I have out my window. Oh my goodness. This is really, really fun. I get a good signal here for whatever reason. I must be near a tower. Love it. So I'm laying here in my cozy little trailer. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. It started raining this morning at around 6 a.m. And this is, I think, my first time that I have actually been in the trailer while it's raining. And it feels nice and cozy in here. And I'll probably force myself to get out of bed pretty soon because I'm getting hungry and want some breakfast. And I forgot to bring a raincoat, so this jacket will have to do. I have found it interesting to be in this Thousand Trails campground because several people have come up to me and started up a conversation, and every time they come over and say hello and my back is turned, I jump a mile high because I'm not expecting it, and then they're always so apologetic and feel so bad. I'm like, don't worry. I jump at everybody saying hello. I startle easily, so then we have a pleasant conversation, and it's interesting to talk to people because you just learn a lot of different things. For example, one fellow was telling me that he travels in his truck camper 6 months of the year, and then he goes and travels internationally 6 months out of the year. And he said he recently did a South Asia trip, and he said even staying in hotels and eating out every night, it was only $1,600 a month. And he also went to Panama and was there during the pandemic, and he said, you know, his cost of living there was about $1,800 a month. And that was, he said, you know, everything, you know, he wanted, you know, hotels, eating out all the time, good service, you know. He says, I didn't scrimp or anything, you know. So it goes to show you, you can live a lot cheaply in other certain areas. And so I said, that sounds like an ideal life to me, traveling around the U.S. Well, he sticks mostly to California, he said. And he said he's been doing this for 10 years. And come to find out, a lot of people around me here, and you're so close to other people here, that I guess people want to be friendly because it's, you know, it's different than a state campground, I think, because people seem to be more living here. Like they'll stay for 3 weeks and then leave for a week and then come back again for 3 weeks. So they're basically living out of whatever rig they have and just staying from 1,000 trails to the next. And I hadn't even thought about that. I was thinking that most of these people were, you know, travelers just coming through and camping, but it's so far from everybody I've talked to, they tend to be more people who are doing this full time. One lady yesterday was so funny. She pulled in with her road trek, and it's a nice road trek, and she said, oh, I love my road trek. It's just perfect for me. I can back in easily and everything. She said, the only trouble is when I want to pick up and go somewhere, you know, I have to put everything away that's on the counters and stuff, so it takes a little bit longer to put everything away and then go exploring, you know. And I said, yeah, that's the benefit of my setup, in that I have a car and I can just get in it and drive off and go explore. So I feel like there's a little more freedom. And she says, oh, but I couldn't tow a trailer and that's too much trouble and work and stuff. And I said, I understand, you know, I'd love to buy a road trek, but geez, one that's nearly 20 years is $40,000, and that's just not something I want to be spending my money on. So but she was so funny because she's like, well, I want to do more international travel, but I'm really fearful to do it alone. And I want to share it with somebody. I want to, have fun with somebody. Would you like to go with me? And I didn't know how to answer that. I'm like, uh, sure. Yeah, we'll have to exchange numbers. But I'm thinking to myself, well, I hardly know you, lady. I don't think I'm going to go internationally traveling with somebody I barely know. We'd definitely have to do some, trips together to see if we're compatible and stuff. But she seemed pretty serious. I don't think she was joking. She said it 2 or 3 or 4 times. Um, she's, I think, feeling a little. She looked like she was in her 70s, and she says my knees are starting to hurt, and I feel like if I'm going to do the international travel, I got to do it soon. So I think she's feeling like she's kind of under the gun of getting it under her belt, as it were. So yeah, most of the people I've been meeting here have been people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, and very, very friendly. So it's just interesting. I asked one guy, what made you get out on the road? And he says, it was just too expensive to maintain a home. So they've been doing it for 5 years. And there's a lot of solo female travelers here, a lot. So I think, it's definitely a trend where a lot of solo female travelers are getting out there and doing this. So that's comforting. What's interesting is there are a couple of solo females here that have huge rigs, like gargantuan, and I'm like, why do you need all that? I was like, what? You're one person. To each his own, I guess. We all have our different priorities. But yeah, for me, the biggest I want to go is probably a 22-foot rig or something like that. But yeah, so far the trailer has been working well for me, but this is a different situation because I have water right here. I have electricity. So easy to charge my batteries last night. I had a bit of a snafu in that I was trying to print some work documents off of my printer, and the battery that I had for it was not handling it. It kept saying overload. And I'm like, uh-oh, what's the deal here? It's like a 700 watt battery, and the printer is about 120 watts, but there's a surge, right? When it's printing, it surges up. So it's like maybe too much when it's actually printing voltage wise. So I ended up switching over to this smaller battery that I have, the Bluetti EB3A, I think it's called. And that one handled the printer because it's got this power lifting mode. And I just was like, fell in love with that battery because it's a little guy, but it can handle my printer. So I was like, yay! I was petting it last night, saying, good battery, you're so good. Like it was a dog. I was so pleased with that battery because I was really worried about, oh no, how am I going to print? I got to print. Don't tell me I have to buy another battery. Jeez. So I don't know, how long the battery will last, with printing, because it's going to run it down pretty quick. I haven't tested that yet. So yeah, I'm a little worried about, like here, it was so easy last night to just come back and charge the batteries up with the AC plug. But if I'm off grid, it's, like this is cloudy out here, how the heck can I be charging them back up again? So I'm very worried about that, what to do when it's cloudy and you're not pulling in much of a solar charge. So I'm going to have to, oh, ooh, I don't know if you can hear on camera, there's a gaggle of geese flying by. I love their sound. Anyway, yeah, I'm a little worried about what my backup is going to be when I'm not getting enough solar. Um, Gosh, I'm probably going to have to spring for a generator, which I don't want to do. I'm worried about where am I going to find room for that, because I'm already worried because my car was completely full with all my camping stuff and work stuff. And I'm like, to fit more in there, like a big generator, I don't know. So that's why I'm thinking I definitely need to get a bigger vehicle for sure, because I'm going to need more storage than, I'm not even sure if a Honda Pilot's big enough. I don't know. I'm sort of thinking I may need to get a minivan after all, just for the fact that I need the space. Unfortunately, my work kind of takes up a lot of room, because I have that darn printer. So, yeah, so I had some hiccups trying to hook up to the internet for work, and I started to get a little discouraged, and I'm thinking all these roadblocks, that you hit, and I had to spend time trying to figure out why that was not hooking up. And then when I got onto my work site and started working, I kept getting kicked off because I realized when I'm on a cellular mobile hotspot, for some reason I get kicked off a lot more. So it kept kicking me off my work site. So that was a little bit of hassle to have to keep getting back on again. And I'm like, well, I'm already getting a taste of how, there's a lot of roadblocks and hurdles to get over when you're out there mixing it up and doing this off-grid type thing. So a couple of times have had some doubts creep in, like, can I really do this? It's just so much more complicated that I'm working still. And that's kind of been my hurdle, is, figuring out how to do this and still be able to work. I don't want to, and I can't really afford to quit my jobs and go, to go out on the road. That doesn't make any sense. So that's why the month-long trip is so important for me, to see if I can really do my job on the road. That's the most important thing. And the only thing I can think of is I'm going to have to, if I am going to do this, maybe I'm going to have to stay at more campgrounds with electricity, to make sure I have enough power. And, well, I'd probably be using Starlink, so that's not going to matter. But, coupled with, some house and pet sitting jobs where I'm in a stick and brick, that's the only thing I can figure, because I'm just having my doubts as to whether or not I could do this full time in this little trailer, have a consistent signal for working and all of that. So I was getting a little bit depressed with, the work issues I was having. And doing a mobile office in the car is not easy. There's a real lack of room, and I didn't even have anywhere to really put my mouse, and it's at an awkward angle. And so I'm like, this, it would be so much more convenient to have a table to work on. This is really challenging. Oh, somebody just yelled loud, and I'm like startled easy. So I'm like, what's that? Yeah, being so close to people is hard. I'm not, I don't like this. It's like living in an apartment complex. It's people right on top of you, and you can hear them and they can hear you. One guy that I was talking to said, oh, I notice you're leaving every day, and you're gone for all day long. Where do you go? And I'm like, wow, that's kind of whoa, you're watching and you're paying attention that closely as to where my schedule and stuff. And I'm like, what? Okay, my arm's getting tired. That makes me a little nervous now. Why is that guy yelling so loud or talking so loud? But I can see that a lot of people, they're just staying in their vehicle, their rig or whatever. Like right here in front of me is a road truck, and they just stay in their vehicle all day long. And I'm thinking they don't have a lot to do or going on, so they're coming over and noticing their neighbors and being a little nosy and aware of, what's going around them, because they don't really have, sorry to say, much of a life, because they're just sitting inside their rigs all day long. And it made me thankful that I actually have a rig like this that kind of forces me to get outside, because to me that's tantamount to sitting on a couch all day. It's not good for your body or mind. That's kind of what I'm trying to get away from. So some of these people are, especially the ones that don't have a car, it is a hassle for them to pack up and go. So what choice do they have? They have to just sit inside their rig all day. So I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't like it. That's not what I want to be doing. I want to be out and about and in nature. So, okay, well, arm's getting tired. So I'm going to sign off for now. All right. Talk to you next time. Just wanted to show you the view out my window here. And that's a road truck there. And the fellow was telling me they're a couple that they've been living in it for 5 years. And they got it used. It's like a 1991 road track, but he says it only has 120,000 miles on it, and he said something about they have only put 30,000 miles on it in 5 years. That sounds pretty low to me. So they're obviously not really in their vehicle to travel and see things. It's their home. So they're pretty much staying still most of the time. And that's certainly, obviously, an option, and it certainly beats living out in the elements and on the streets. At least they have a nice places to stay. I had to laugh because one lady was telling me, she says, "Oh, I love the 1,000 Trails because the campgrounds are free." And I'm thinking to myself, not really. I mean, you pay a pretty big price to stay here. It's just that once you pay all your money up front, then you're not having to pay again. But it's not free per se. So, I think a lot of these people pay a pretty good penny to stay here. But overall, I'm sure it's cheaper than sticks and bricks, that's for sure. But anyways, it's an option, but I just don't like the fact that you're just so close together and living on top of other people, and not much privacy, especially with my setup. I feel like I'm cooking there last night and I'm thinking everybody's watching me, and I hate that feeling of being watched. And that's probably narcissistic of me to assume that people are watching me, but it feels that way, and I wonder. And so I'm like, I'm more exposed out there where these people can just hide in their rigs, and not have everything be watched. So, yeah, I'd much prefer campgrounds and places that have more spread between each site. Okay, I guess I better get dressed and get out there and make some breakfast. Just freshly showered in the bathroom over there. And usually what I do is I just scrunch my naturally curly hair up as much as I can. And then I just let it air dry like that. So pretty low maintenance, which is great for camping. I never take a blow dryer to it. And then once it's dry, then I can fluff. But if I tried to air blow it or comb it out, it will dry very frizzy. And I'd be like Rosanna Dana. So this is my trick, is scrunch and let it dry. I just cut this myself a few weeks ago, and it's even easier to care for. Tangles up, such fine hair, it tangles up really badly when it's longer, so the shorter is much easier to maintain. But I think I cut it a little too short. I think I'd like it a little longer than this. Anyways, I am in the rain the next morning, and I'm making coffee, and I'm sorry for all my ticks, by the way. I think when I'm talking on camera I have a lot of ticks. Must be nerves. So anyways, yeah, this is my first time actually camping in rain, and my little overhang here, how do I show it, over the back galley is a lifesaver in the rain, and so far it's not impacting my ability to, you know, be on the stove. So that's a good thing, because I wanted to see, can I actually cook and do things out here when it's raining. Yesterday I noticed that I stayed cooped up inside for as long as I possibly could, and then the idea of getting out there and cooking and making breakfast was a little daunting, mainly because I was kind of cold. I didn't really bring a raincoat, and I didn't bring leggings, so I'm a little chilly, but I thought, I've got to try this. Oh, there's the coffee going. I have to try this to see if, you know, what it's like to actually do it when it's raining. And so I forced myself to get up a little earlier this morning and making my coffee now. I'm gonna have a little camping cup. I'm gonna froth up some milk, and then I can get out of the rain by sitting in my little clamshell screen tent. I love it, actually. This is really cool to be out here in the rain. Again, you know, you're closer to the elements and the nature, and, you know, it's just a different experience than being safely ensconced in a heated, you know, living space. So I remember a favorite moment of mine, and years ago when I first moved up to the San Francisco Bay Area, was I was meeting a friend at a hilltop cabin to spend the night, and I had to hike up there, and it started to rain, and I had no choice. I had to hike in the rain, and it was one of the most joyous experiences I'd ever had. I couldn't believe how refreshing and wonderful it was, and I'm like, what am I so afraid of? To get a little wet? Big deal. And it was wonderful. So yeah, I'm not going to be afraid of the rain and getting a little wet. This was my mom's umbrella, a pretty gorgeous Monet umbrella, and I inherited it when she passed away last December, just before Christmas. I'm at a cemetery right now, near where I'm camping. My mom had made arrangements before her death, actually years and years before her death, to be cremated, and my sister and I weren't sure, what pretty views, where we wanted to keep her ashes or what to do with them. We ended up Actually opting for these gorgeous necklaces that have some of her ashes embedded in the necklace along with her fingerprint. So then we had a lot of ashes left, and neither one of us really wanted to keep them in our house. I've had pets die and I had their ashes in my house, and it only served to remind me every time I saw them of the pain of the loss. Wow. I know that my Redeemer liveth. Died 1913. Wow. Jane E. Driscoll died June 26, 1985 at 64. What a gorgeous, gorgeous cemetery and place of rest. I didn't even know this was here. So neither one of us wanted to have her ashes. And so what we decided to do, because my mom loved birds, she loved flowers, she loved plants, she loved the color green, she loved nature, basically. We found a local park, and we probably weren't supposed to do it legally, but we did it anyway. And we dug a hole and buried her ashes. And had a little, ceremony there. And it's a gorgeous spot close to a river with gorgeous views and lots of greenery, which my mother loved. And we were just so happy about it that we found the perfect spot. And it's not too far from either one of us that we can't go and visit when we want to. It's a very serene place, and there's a bench right nearby. And after I do this little hike, I'm actually going to go there and visit. And we had planted, because my mom loved plants and flowers so much, we planted a lantana, which is a bright yellow, gorgeous, bushy type flower, or bush. And I'm going to put some fertilizer on it to help it along for the spring, and visit with Mom for a while. I'm thinking of her a lot lately, as we just had her celebration of life, and I gave an emotional eulogy, and my sister did a wonderful, wonderful video of my mom's life that just made me cry. And again, it just drove home how important it is to, live life to the fullest, do what you can while you can. Enjoy your loved ones. Tell them you love them. My mom and I told each other we loved each other a lot. Probably more than we ever had in our lives. And it was very healing. my mom was of that generation that it was a little hard for her to say I love you, and she got better with it as she got older. And she really did a good job of telling me how much she loved me before she passed. Okay, I'm going to cry again if I stop. Keep going with this. She would leave me voicemails and stuff telling me how much she loved me. It meant so much, you know. I haven't been able to erase them. And I don't know if I could listen to them again for a long time, because it's pretty painful right now. Things are still very fresh. The loss. But I just had to keep them. And I know at some point I'll be able to listen to them and take in her love, because, you know, sometimes growing up and in my adult years, I didn't always feel loved. And so I was very grateful that she made sure to let me know that she really did love me. It's kind of like, you know, when you get close to the end of your life, things become, I think, crystal clear, you know, for you. And nothing else really matters except to express, you know, the love that you have for your family and friends and loved ones. So I'm going to end this here and just be with my thoughts.